The ground to the air, authorities in Montgomery County are trying to capture a gunman linked to a killing spree that has left at least 6 people dead. Right now we know who they are looking for. It is Bradley Stone, an ex-Marine. It is Monday night. The big story on Action News is the search for a gunman that has led authorities to 4 Montgomery County communities.
We know that the gunman killed 6 people in 3 separate locations this morning.
Now, it all began at 4 a.m. in Lower Salford. That is where a woman was found dead. Authorities then found more victims in Lansdale and Souderton, and they're now in PENNSBURG, hoping to catch the alleged gunman behind it all.
Action News has been following this breaking story all day long. Our reporters are at all 4 scenes tonight. Let's begin with Action News reporter Sarah Bloomquist, who is live tonight from PENNSBURG. Sarah.
Well, Rick, the SWAT teams are set up here on the block. Several of them, they seem to be taking a very active stance, as if anything could happen at any moment now. We're losing our light here, but if you look down the block, you can see 2 armored vehicles there, a big tan one, like a military vehicle, and a smaller one, a black one, an armored SWAT vehicle. There's little doubt from this vantage point that they believe Bradley Stone is in the house. They're focused on, and they're doing all they can to get him to surrender. Early this morning, SWAT teams shut down the streets and surrounded this row home on Pottstown Avenue in PENNSBURG. They could be heard over blowhorns yelling for 35-year-old Bradley Stone to come out. Police had the place surrounded.
Bradley, this is police department. You're under arrest. Come out now.
In the hours to come, the SWAT team moved in toward the house, then retreated again and again. Armored vehicles circled the block. One moved down the back alley and used a ram to take down the garage door. Residents were forced to evacuate. This woman and her child were escorted out by SWAT team members. PENNSBURG residents, many forced from their homes, watched from the streets as police kept their sights set on the row home on their block.
I've seen snipers over on the roof, 2 snipers they had on the roof. I've seen just SWAT guys running around the buildings. You know, if anyone got too close, they would yell, say, you can't come around here, you got to get back. Couple bangs, I don't know what that was about, but couple bangs here and there.
And those are likely those flashbangs aimed at incapacitating a person. Now, the schools in this area were on lockdown for a short time, but did dismiss on time. Again, the SWAT team remains in position here. We'll continue to monitor the situation. Live in PENNSBURG, Montgomery County, I'm Sarah Bloomquist, Channel 6 Action News.
All right, Sarah, thank you. Let's switch live now to reporter Annie McCormick, who is standing by in Lower Salford, Montgomery County, where this manhunt began early this morning. Annie.
And Rick, that's right. This is where police say it all began. Now, at this point, we do know the identity of the victim here. However, we are not releasing it. We are waiting for police. Now, the big question tonight is, why did this happen? And many friends and neighbors are telling us this is all part of an ongoing custody dispute.
I heard 3 or 4 gunshots, and I heard the kids yelling, saying, "Mommy, no, no, Mommy, no." And he just said, "Let's go, we gotta go."
Just before 4 a.m., the chilling sound of gunshots and children's voices woke this neighbor who does not want to be identified. Police discovered the victim shot to death in the upstairs bedroom of this Lower Salford Township apartment. Bullet holes are seen outside. They believe her ex-husband, Brad William Stone, shot and killed her and took their 2 daughters following a custody dispute. The neighbor saw him moments after she heard shots, and they briefly spoke. The girls were later found unharmed nearby, but it appears Stone allegedly continued his spree, killing 6 people, all somehow related to his ex-wife.
What was his demeanor when you saw him?
He was just in a rush, like he didn't want to talk or anything. Like I said, when I asked him, was everything okay, he was talking while he was getting in the car, and he just left after that.
Today, his neighbors gathered and watched their friend carried out of her home. They tell us Stone had issues stemming from serving in the military, and at times the victim feared for her safety. They describe her as an amazing mom.
Sad that somebody can do this and traumatize the little girls.
And back out here live, you can see that police still remain on the scene. Now, I did speak to the co-workers of the victim at Gertrude Hawk's chocolate store. They tell me that they loved her and that they will miss her immensely. Now, friends and neighbors also telling me that she does have a fiance. That fiance has remained with police all day for his own safety. Reporting live from Lower Salford Township, Annie McCormick, Channel 6 Action News.
Thank you, Annie. Now, reporter David Henry is in Souderton, where police search for any sign of the gunman there. David?
Well, Monica, this is the home of relatives of the suspect through marriage, a couple and their 2 children. Now, the police are not making it clear how many bodies were found here in this house, but we do know, according to sources, that a teenage boy was airlifted to the hospital from here after a lengthy SWAT siege.
We saw the snipers on the roof of our friend's house, and then the flashbang went off, so we had to go inside.
Police tactical units and a SWAT team converged on the house at Penn and Garfield at shortly after 8 this morning. They believed the suspect was holed up inside after killing people at 2 other locations. Nearby neighbors were evacuated. Others sheltered in place as the drama unfolded.
I saw them climbing through a window back there on the house. They just really told me I had to get out of the area. And then another officer came up. He told me I was in the line of fire, and I started videotaping over there where they were literally using the armored vehicle as like protection.
Police closed off a large area of town around the home. Almost 5 hours after it started, they set off a flashbang. Percussion bombs are used to startle a suspect as the SWAT team barges in. Shortly after the bang, a person was loaded into an ambulance, and this SWAT vehicle left with what appears to be a wounded victim lying on the floor. That person was then loaded onto a hospital helicopter. Sources tell us a teenage boy was found in the house with a bullet wound to the head. Neighbors say the couple who lives here are in their 30s, and they have a 19-year-old son and 12-year-old daughter.
Nice family. I mean, they didn't bother anybody, but, you know, so I don't know. It's scary. So I hope they get the person who did it.
Now, we're not revealing the names of the victims found at this house. We can tell you, though, that the woman who lived here is the sister of the suspect's former wife, who he killed earlier in the day. Live in Souderton, David Henry, Channel 6 Action News. Rick?
All right, David, thank you. Neighbors spoke to Action News about what they heard this morning. And reporter Walter Perez is in Lansdale with that part of the story tonight. Walter.
Well, Rick, we'll take you right to the scene where the murders took place earlier this morning. You can see investigators still on the scene. Meantime, both of the victims' remains just recently removed. We can only identify them right now as a 57-year-old woman and her 75-year-old mother, pending family notification, both allegedly murdered by a former in-law. Neighbors along the 100 block of West 5th Street say the sound they heard this morning was unmistakable.
I heard a gunshot go off about 5 o'clock in the morning. I heard emergency vehicles about 5:15, 5:30.
Authorities arrived to confirm the cold-blooded murders of a 57-year-old woman and her 75-year-old mother. And it turns out the victims are former in-laws of the suspect, 35-year-old Brad Stone, now linked to a total of at least 6 murders since this morning. People who live in the area say it was common to see Stone confronting his ex-wife outside her mother's home, but no one thought it would come to this.
They weren't getting along. I guess she didn't want him, you know. Now it goes when they start arguing with one another. I don't want you to have her. I don't want you to see her, you know. Because I don't know if they were still going on at this time, but there were custody battles.
Also on the scene was Joyce Gorman of Hatfield, who describes herself as a close friend of the 75-year-old woman killed. She says based on conversations they had in the past, she knew in her heart right away that her dear friend was targeted.
I saw it on the news at 6:15 this morning, and it was right on the street where she lives. And I tried to call her, and I've been calling her for the past 4 hours.
And of course, sadly, those phone calls were never returned. Once again, several neighbors here telling us they witnessed heated exchanges between Stone and his ex-wife regarding custody and visitation of their children, and investigators confirmed that domestic issues seem to be at the heart of this tragic case. Reporting live from Lansdale, Walter Perez, Channel 6 Action News.
All right, thank you, Walter. So recapping our big story, authorities are trying to capture this man, 35-year-old Bradley Stone. He's wanted for killing at least 6 people today in 3 Montgomery County communities. It all began at 4 a.m. in Lower Southford, where a woman was shot to death, but authorities say more victims were found in Lansdale and Souderton. They're now in PENNSBURG trying to catch Stone. 2 children taken from the Lower Southford apartments are safe and sound. Acquaintances of the victims say it may have stemmed from a long-running custody dispute. And our coverage of the shootings continues for you on 6abc.com.